Last lecture that we talked about this concept of packing density, and there that we discussed two approaches. That one is closed packing density concept, another is open packing density. In closed packing density, that we discussed that the fibers this are placed in layer, but they are touching each other. At least three fibers are touching each other, so that this you can get the maximum compactness within the yarn cross section. And in case of open packing density, that again it is a layer type of structure, but the fibers are in only in the form of layer, but the condition of touching of three fibers, that is not there. So it is likely that yes, you will create more air voids, and once that we will have more air voids, then definitely that the packing density of the yarn will be lesser, because packing density that we are defining, that cross-sectional area of the fiber in yarn cross-section divided by the cross-sectional area of the yarn. So this we have also discussed that yes, in this case the packing density maximum theoretically it should be 1, and this minimum it will be 0, so it will vary from 0 to 1. And then we started talking about this situation, that what is the minimum packing density and maximum packing density concept. So here that we talked this your concept of maximum packing density, because in maximum packing density, as said, that this three fibers that they are touching each other, so that we can join the center point of the fibers, and so the area occupied by the fiber in a particular triangle is shown in the figure. So there that you see, this is the brown portion that is indicating that the area occupied by the respective fiber, and this white portion that is showing that there is no fiber, so that is practically we are saying it is air voids. So on that basis that we reach to conclusion that yes, this packing density that once we calculate under ideal condition, so this is the approach that we have used, so that we have first calculated the area of fibers. So here that if RF is the radius of the fiber, so cross-section area of the fiber will be pi r f whole square. But now here in this case that you have seen that this in a triangle, 1/6 portion of each fiber is being placed, and once that we calculate total area occupied by the fiber in the triangle, so that we will reach to value of pi r f whole square divided by 2. So this is the area occupied by the fiber. And then we know that from trigonometry, that area of triangle that we can calculate here, that the triangle all three sides are equal, which is your length of the side is equal to 2RF. So that we have calculated the area of the triangle, which comes out RF whole square root of 3. Okay, and then we said the packing density is equal to area of fiber divided by area of triangle. So area of fiber is a pi RF whole square divided by 2, and whole divided by root 3 RF whole square. So that we simplify, and that on that basis that we achieved a value. Yes, under ideal condition that the packing density is going to be 0.907. So here one of the assumptions for time being that we are still maintaining the cross section of fiber is circular, and at the same time the fibers are closely packed. So now once we say that yes, what are the possibilities that we will have the maximum packing density of the yarn in yarn cross section, and which we calculated. So it is likely that that we will have a situation where that we will have the minimum possible packing density. So then we attempted to just calculate or brought the situation where that we can think of this minimum packing density. So the condition to satisfy minimum packing density will only be possible if the distance between these two fibers is equal to the diameter of the yarn, or practically 2 RF, where RF is the radius of the fiber. Because the moment if this distance is lesser than 2 RF, then that it will not allow this fiber to come in this open area, because this is the area which is now making the air voids. So the situation which will satisfy for minimum packing density will be, yes, the distance between two fibers, the outer layer, that has to be equal to or this more than 2 RF. So in that case, again, we can calculate the packing density. So this is the situation going to be. Then again, we have a triangle. But in this case, now that the length of each side of the triangle is, you can say 4 RF. This is RF plus RF, and this is the distance, this 2 RF. So then again, under this situation, we try to calculate the packing density. Approach is same, that area occupied by the fibers in the triangle, the brown portion, and this total area occupied by this triangle, where that these are the center point of the fibers, and they are your surface are distant by say 2 RF. So then we calculated the area of fiber. So area of the fiber, definitely it is going to be again 2 pi RF whole square divided by 2. And area of the triangle, that is now 4 root of 3 RF whole square. So now I know the area of the fiber, I know area of a triangle. So the ratio of these two is my packing density. So that we have calculated this packing density, that is 0.227. So it means now that we know that in a yarn, maximum packing density under ideal condition, that is going to be 0.907, and under ideal condition, minimum packing density is going to be 0.227. So what is it indicating? It means in my real yarn that my packing density definitely it is likely to vary in between 0.227 and 0.907. So this is the range that now we got it. So the real yarn situation we will have, because we cannot have any yarn where the packing density is going to be lesser than 0.227. It is not possible. And maximum packing density, we say under this ideal situation, it cannot be more than 0.907. So it means now that we have understood that what is going to be the range. So then we further attempted that, yes, okay, if suppose my situations are different, and because in a real yarn situation, it is not possible that all the fibers will be equidistant. It is not possible. They will occupy different positions. The distance from one fiber to another fiber is going to be different. So here that we have gone for another approach. Suppose the distance between two fibers, the distance between the outer surface of two fibers, suppose in a triangle that is A and another side it is B and C. So different distances are there. So keeping that your imagination in mind, then again there are possibilities. Then we can calculate the packing density by knowing this value of A, B and C. And A, B and C, as I told you, it is nothing, it is the distance between two fibers in this triangle. So on the basis that we have worked out and we calculated that, yes, the area of the fiber, again it is going to pi RF whole square divided by 2, and that the area of the triangle that we have calculated. But here that we say that I have taken into consideration the number of different approaches are there. You can calculate this area of triangle by knowing just the three sides of the triangle, or you can have two sides of the triangle and some angle in between. So that I'm using this concept that using this angle alpha in between two sides of the your triangle, and then we calculated this packing density, area of fiber divided by area of the triangle, and where that we have calculated value of sine alpha, where A, B, and C are the distance between this consecutive fibers. So that is so if I know this value of A, B, C, then I can calculate the packing density. So here that just to verify whether that this concept is correct or not, so we can now put this in different values in the previous formula. So suppose if I put this value of is equal to A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0, or C is equal to 0. So in this case, that what is the situation? Because this is ideally close packing, means that the fibers are touching each other. So that is the condition that I'm achieving. So under that condition, if I put this value of A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0, and C is equal to 0 in our previous formula, we get this packing density 0.907. So this is again indicating maximum. The same thing, if suppose that we put this value A is equal to 2R, B is equal to 2RF, and C is equal to 2RF. What is that condition? This is the condition of minimum packing density. So that I'm getting 0.227. So now that if I put a different value, because as I said, that in a real yarn, that the distance between fibers are not going to be the same. But in this ideal condition, I'm putting the same distance, which is not possible. So now let's try if these values are different. So A is equal to say if I put RF divided by 3, B is equal to RF divided by 2, C is equal to RF. Then in that condition, my packing density 0.8792. If I have this value, A is equal to this RF, B is equal to this RF, and C is equal to say this RF, then in that case, my this packing density is equal to 0.403. So it means here this formula definitely is able to give me the packing density if I know the distance this between two fibers. But now question is whether this approach can be used, and this is the part now that I want to talk further, because earlier this point that we have already discussed, but just to maintain the continuity. Now question is here, in a yarn, I have a cross section of fiber where that I have more than 150, 200, 250 fibers are there. Now joining these three fibers and measuring the distance between two fibers, it is impossible, very time consuming, and at the same time accuracy is going to be again question mark. Yes, theoretically I can verify, I can see, yes, if I know there is the distances, one can calculate the packing density. That is fine, but practically it is not possible. So it means that we have to find out some alternative. But this approach is not going to work. So what is going to be approach then? Because if I know the cross section of the yarn where the fibers are placed, and so how I can this if by some means first what we have to do, I have to cut the cross section, and while cutting the cross section, that I have to see that this my all fibers should be very clearly visible, and so that this I can measure the area of individual fibers. So now immediate question will be how to cut the cross section of yarn. Anybody has any idea or studied somewhere or have been taught in some course how to cut the cross section? Is any approach is being taught how to cut the cross section? You might have studied in fiber science see the cross section of the fibers.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, we for practically cutting the cross section, we thread it through a cork or corkscrew, and then we slice the course through its cross section, and then we put it under a microscope.
Okay, good. So what he is saying that yes, that you pass the fiber through this cork screw, and the cut means why that you are using the cork, just to give support to the fibers, because the moment that you apply any mechanical force or you cut with any blade or anything, so that you are applying a mechanical force over it. So there are chances that once you will cut it, that the fiber will deform. Okay, so for that purpose, what you are doing, that you are using the cork screw. That is the so that point is clear. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now what is happening in cork screw again? What is happening that because in my case, the moment that I want to measure the packing density of fiber in the yarn, one of the most important issue is that I have to maintain the orientation cross sectional your this your structure. I have to maintain the orientation of placement of the fiber in the cross section has to be maintained. It should not get changed during cutting. Imagine I have a fiber placed in a cross section. You are cutting, and fibers that they get deformed, they are changing their position. What is going to happen? That a fiber in the core may shift to surface side or somewhere other places wherever they will find a place. So I will not be able to, okay, total packing density maybe I will be able to get, but I will not have a real picture how fibers they are placed in core or intermediate zone or surface zone. So it means that while cutting this cross section, I have to maintain that my position of the fiber within the yarn should not get displaced. So that is one of the objectives that I have to keep in mind in order to measure the or in order to look at the cross section of the yarn and measure the your this area of the fiber. Imagine that suppose my fiber, I have put a yarn and I'm cutting it, and during cutting that yarn is getting deflected. So it means yarn is making some angle. So fiber will make also certain angle accordingly. And the moment that you will cut the fiber or yarn at its angle, so area of individual fiber will get changed. Are you with me? Why area of the fiber will change once that the fiber will get deformed? Because their radial position from the yarn is changing. And the moment radial position of the fiber in the yarn will change, that area of the individual fiber will change. And you remember once that we were talking about factor Kn and Ks. That time that we have detailed that we discuss this matter. So now it means that once I cut the cross section, that my yarn should be fully embedded. It should not get distorted. It should not, the fiber should not get displaced. Then only I will get a real cross section of the yarn. And then I will be able to maintain the individual position of the fiber within the yarn cross section. So for that, the systems are that different people, researchers, that they have proposed different systems. The two ways that you can cut the cross section. One is the hard cutting method. Another is your soft cutting method. In hard cutting method, that what do? You use a capsule. In capsule, that you put the yarn vertically, apply some tension so that the yarn should remain straight in the capsule, and that you pour the polymer in that capsule. So what is happening? That now yarn is embedded within the polymer. So that yarn is being supported by the polymer. And then you cut the cross section. So in that case, what is happening? That you are able to maintain the respective position of fiber within the yarn cross section. Another approach is soft cutting method. In soft cutting method, what is being proposed? You use this wax and paraffin, a mixture of wax and paraffin. Wax that helps you to impart the adhesiveness, and this paraffin gives the hardness. So that you make a cube, the molten wax and paraffin, and in general it is being proposed that 40% your this wax and 60% paraffin, in that proportion that you mix, and the molten material that you are putting in a cube where that yarn is horizontally placed, and that you are pouring the this mixture of paraffin and wax. So what will happen? That in that cube, this mixture will get solidified. So yarn is now embedded in the wax cube, and then now you can cut the cross section. But in the process, what you have assured, that you have assured to some extent the position of the yarn, but you are still not assuring the position of the fiber within the yarn. Because within the yarn also, if fibers are changing, again that your area at a different radial position is going to be different. So for this, it is proposed that once I am using the yarn, we apply some adhesive. So this once that I am applying over the yarn and adhesive, so adhesive will penetrate in the yarn body, and once that it will get dried, so it will just cement it as the fiber within the yarn. So it means that you are fixing the position of the fiber within the yarn. And then you cut the cross section so that you have taken care of any deflection of the yarn or any displacement of the fiber within the yarn cross section. So you will get the real picture of the your cross section of the fiber. So this is the way that so this is now that you see, you can see the cross section. So this is the approach, because here that soft cutting approach is being used. And now you can see that very easily that you will be able to see, of course, you have to little magnify and you will be able to see the individual fiber. So are you able to appreciate how that we are cutting? And this, of course, the cross section of the yarn is under different parameters. That's why that you will find that the cross section of this yarn is different, because this yarn, all 4 cross sections, that yarn is made under different parameters. So that's why they are not same. But yes, important issue at this moment is that we have to see how that fiber, the cross section, so I should be able to see. Now, what has happened? The moment that you have applied the wax and all, and your some adhesive, which we are not doing PVA that is being used as adhesive. Once that we cut the cross section, is still that your images that we are not able to get proper. So what we use, we put some xylene, a small drop of the xylene over the cross section, and this presence of xylene improves my optical properties of the cross section, so that cross section looks more better. So this is the approach that we use to cut the cross section. So now suppose I have a cross section, which you can see here. This is my cross section. I have to now measure the area of the fiber, as I told that earlier. Now here, do you think it is possible that I should find out 3 fibers and surrounding fibers and join their center and measure the distance between the fiber? Is it possible? Hello? The approach which we have already discussed, do you think if I got a cross section, okay, cross section is very good, that I'm able to see individual fiber and all. So can I apply the method which we have described earlier, that join the center of 3 fibers measure the distance between the centers, and calculate the area occupied by the fiber in that triangle and the area of the triangle. Is it possible? Anybody wants to give the answer?
No, sir.
So it means now I have to find out a alternative. So can you just tell that what is the alternative? Can you just guess or some idea can you give me? Because my objective is I want to know the area of the fiber. Any approach? Just a guess. Maybe answer may not be correct, but think of. Anybody? See, can we think of using this image analysis here? Hello? Have you studied this image analysis? It is very commonly used in medical science. How that you are measuring the size of the different tissues within the body. So here that approach is going to be simple. Image analysis, that what we will scan the cross section so that it will just read the boundary of the fibers, and so that it can measure the area occupied by the fibers, and I know the diameter of the yarn. I can measure the cross-sectional area of the yarn. So ratio of these two is my packing density. It will be faster, definitely, and it will be accurate. But the most important issue is that the cross section. How cross section of the that you are able to improve the quality of yarn cross section. That is more important. If your picture, the cross section is not good, then definitely your image this analysis technique, that it may read something else, which is maybe that is not a fiber, but it will read as a fiber. Okay, so this is the approach is mostly used, and so that we can get the area of the fiber occupied in the cross section and the cross sectional area of the yarn. Fine, we have measured, we have studied how to cut the cross section. We have now possibility how to measure the cross section so that we know the packing density. So now that I can measure the yarn with different parameters, and then we can find out different packing density. So if you see this 4 cross section, then definitely you will be able to say, yes, the packing density of these 4 cross section is not same, because that they are pegged differently within the cross section. And the changes are due to variables, different type of variables that are being used. So that yes, I know the packing density. Now question is that what type of information this packing density is giving to me, and why that it is important to study the packing density or to measure the packing density of the yarn. Now you see, suppose that I want to dye a yarn. I have 2 yarns. One has a higher packing density, another has a lower packing density. And if I dye the yarn under same dye bath condition, the color of the yarn will be same or it will be different. You got my question? Two yarns, I will give you the value. One yarn has say packing density 0.45, another yarn has packing density 0.55. Cotton yarn, fiber is same, everything is same. The density or linear density or this of yarn is also same. But yes, one is more compact in comparison to other. And now that I want to dye this yarn. So do you think once that you dye under same dye condition, means there the concentration of dye and all everything you have maintained same, and if you dye these two yarns, do you think the color of these two yarns after dyeing will be same or it will be different? Anybody? Have you got my question? Question is clear or any doubt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, so this the color of the yarn will be same or different?
It will be different.
Different. Why it will be different?
So because the dye actually penetrates in the amorphous zones, and the one having higher packing density will have a deeper shade.
So it means that the yarn which has open structure, less packing density, the dye, it is easier to dye to penetrate within the yarn. And if yarn is more packed, then the penetration of dye will be difficult. They will remain only on the surface and all. So it is likely that the color of two yarns are going to be different. So it means now what is important. Before dyeing the yarn, now do you not think that I should know the packing density of the yarn? So that is the importance. Why should I measure the packing density? Why should I know the packing density of the yarn? So then I will be in good position because I have to match both the yarns, so that I should get the same color. So accordingly that I will change the dye bath condition if the packing density of two yarns are different. So that I will be able to, so that the pre-knowledge about packing density is going to help to maintain my dye affinity and other thing. Same thing that you can answer with, say, you size the yarn. You do the sizing once you are using, particularly in case of warp direction. Now, if I don't know the your packing density of the yarn, so do you think that I will be able to decide the size add-on? I will be able to get the good sizing. If my say yarn are having, or one yarn has one packing density, tomorrow that I'm using another yarn but different packing density. So if I'm not changing my size condition, I will not be able to size the yarn properly. So it means that this knowledge of this packing density is now very important. So subsequent, the same thing you see the comfort property. If a yarn is less packed and another yarn is more packed, the air penetration that from your body, from inner to outer, it will depend how that the structure of yarn is, whether it is more closely packed or more open. So if I understand this packing density better, I will be able to talk better about comfort properties. And comfort property, what I mean, Here, whether it is your absorbency, where it is air permeability, or this you can say this transmission of air from one surface to another. So all these comfort issues that I can be in a good position to talk about if I know. Okay, so it means that packing density becomes more important. But now another issue is, do you think that packing density is enough or something else I should know if I know the cross section of the fiber? So there that you have now, I will just go for again, I don't know what is happening today. Are you able to see this transparency? Hello?
And we can see the radial packing density slide.
No, your radial packing density, are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
Pardon?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so here that you see, now another concept that what we have to use, one is of course total packing density. Another is how fibers are packed within the cross section. Say if I divide this cross section into different concentric circle, where that I have this in x-axis, this is the radial position, and here that you have packing density, and y-axis packing density. So at a different radial position, that what is my packing density. So now in this case that I will be able to see whether my fibers are packed in core or intermediate zone or surface, how that fibers are packed within the cross section. So in this case, how that I have to do it, what we have to do it. So what I will do, that I will divide the this cross section of the yarn into different concentric circle. So I have to know the first the CG of the cross section, and I have to place some this so divide the cross section into say 20 or 30 this concentric circle. So now that I will measure the packing density of individual concentric circle, and I will measure the area of the fiber in individual concentric circle divided by in area of that particular concentric circle, and that is my packing density. So now that I know that this different concentric circle at different radial position, I have this packing density. So that I will plot a graph, and that is nothing, it is my radial packing density curve. So that will indicate whether that this is because my yarn axis, so how fibers that they are packed, the movement that are moving from yarn axis to surface. So the radial packing density curve, now it is giving me now additional information what the total packing density was not able to give. So now I will be able to say that this how fibers that they are radially packed within the yarn. And then now I can compare the radial packing density curve of ring yarn versus rotor yarn, air jet yarn versus say compact yarn. So that's sort of comparison that I can find out, and then I can see how that the yarn made on different technology or yarn made with different parameters, how that they are radially packed. And now radial packing density, this information again that will help us to improve my dyeing affinity, to improve my sizing condition, to optimize my comfort properties. So I will be in a good position. Take a typical case, ring versus rotor yarn. The packing density of ring yarn is more than packing density of rotor yarn. Ring yarn is more compact in comparison to this rotor yarn, and that we can very well explain on the basis of how fibers concentration mechanism is taking place. So on that basis that we can explain, because in case of ring yarn, that the fiber ribbon is coming out from the front nip of the roller, and that we are twisting it. So we are applying a transfer force so that yarn is becoming more compact. So the packing density of ring yarn is more. But in case of rotor yarn, the fibers they get deposited in a rotor groove which has a V groove. So that the fibers or a ribbon will take a triangular shape. Now this triangular shape you are trying to convert into circular one due to twisting. So what will happen? The edges of the triangle will get wrapped over the body. So the core of the yarn will have more fiber, surface will have lesser fiber. So the moment that you compare the radial packing density of ring yarn versus rotor yarn, this yarns are having the same parameters, twist, fiber, and linen density same. So in that case, rotor yarn will show more packing density towards core in comparison to ring yarn, but surface that you will find that this ring yarn has more packing density than rotor yarn. So now that the moment we know that yarn made on different technology have again different fiber distribution within the cross section. So this information again it is I can exploit in different applications if I have to optimize the say properties, comfort properties of the yarn. So it means now that we are adding another additional information that radial packing density concept. And radial packing density is very simple. Again, same way cross section you have cut it. Only that rather simply measuring the total area of the fiber yarn cross section. Here that we have divided the cross section of the yarn into different concentric circles. And we are measuring the area occupied by respective concentric circle divided by the area of that particular concentric circle. So that I can have this packing density in a different concentric circle, and I can plot a graph where on y-axis packing density and x-axis this radius of the yarn, and I know the packing density. Now here that you see to another issue will come. The moment we say that concentric circle, we say we can divide it into 30, 20 concentric circle and measure the packing density of respective concentric circle. Now this two approaches will be there. One approach is the distance between two concentric circle is same. So this distance. Another is area of individual concentric circle is same. The moment that you are saying the equidistance, so area of individual concentric circle is different. The area of the inner concentric circle will be lesser in comparison to area of concentric circle on outer surface of the yarn. But another approach is I can divide this your cross section into concentric circle having this constant area. So these are the two approaches I can use. Is it clear that there are two different approaches? One where that the distance between two concentric circle is constant, but area is varying. Another case that I have to maintain area constant. Now I have to measure the say packing density and radial packing density. Now that you have to decide that which approach is better, whether I should go for constant area method or constant width method. Anybody can suggest me that which method is better? Hello? The question is clear? You see, this the point which I raised that because we said if I have to measure the radial packing density of the yarn, I have to divide the yarn cross section into different concentric circle. Say I want to divide into 30 concentric circle. So I have two approaches, that constant area method and constant width method. Now you see advantages and disadvantages. The moment that you take this constant width method, so that your all this concentric circle, once that you are dividing, so that from core to surface they are equidistant. But in constant area, that you'll find that your initial concentric circle near to core will have more width in comparison to concentric circle, those are towards yarn surface. So what is happening here, that you will have the distance between 2 points from one concentric circle to another concentric circle in a constant area method. The distance between 2 points will be more. But with the equal width method, this distance between 2 points will be lesser. So suppose that the moment that you have a 2 point in a graph and distance is more, you don't know in between what is happening. But if you are reducing this distance between 2 points, then your clarity that how that from one concentric circle to another circle, how the things are changing will be known better. So that's why that we prefer that particularly if I have to measure the radial packing density, then we prefer equidistant. So that we are dividing this cross-sectional area into equidistant concentric circle. But at the same time, in order to further maintain reduce this distance between 2 points, say instead of 20 concentric circle, I can go 30, I can go 40, I can divide. And so that I have more number of concentric circles, so that I'm able to reduce this distance between 2 points, so that in a curve, the moment that I'm plotting the curve and distance between 2 points are lesser, then definitely that the quality of curve which you are getting, it is definitely better. So that's why that we prefer that you'll find in the literature also, the majority of people that they have talked about this equidistant method, so that they divide this concentric circle of equidistance and then measure this. But that method that you see that question is now again how to measure the packing density of individual concentric circle. So this approach is very simple. I have a cross section. I use this image processing. I scan the cross section, measure the total area of the fiber occupied in the cross section. So that value I know. So what I will do? Now after that, I will just blacken the first concentric circle and measure the again area of the fiber in the cross section. So in that case, I'm not taking into consideration the fiber belonging to first concentric circle. I know the total area minus this by blackening the first concentric circle. This is nothing, that is the area occupied by the fiber in first concentric circle. Then second step, what I will do? I will blacken first and second concentric circle and again scan it. So difference between these two, again that I will be able to calculate again the area occupied by the fiber in second concentric circle. Like that I can go third, fourth, fifth and 30th. So that I'm in good position to calculate or to measure this your area occupied by the fiber within a particular concentric circle. And I know the area of a concentric circle, so that the ratio of these two is my packing density in that particular concentric circle. Point taken or any doubt? Hello.
It's clear, sir.
It is clear?
Yes, sir.
So any question before we end it? Any doubt? Hello? Any doubt? So if there is no question, that I will end it here, and we'll meet tomorrow, same time. Okay. Have a nice time.